or not in West Africa.
Adama, with all that in mind, what is that root cause in your belief?
The root cause is that we don't have democracy. We pretend to have democracy in all of the West African countries. In addition to that, the economic condition of the people is very bad. It's worsening, improving a lot of few people, inequalities, and the fact that people are mismanaging democracy to sustain themselves.
Hello, my people. It seems like all the West African countries, all the countries there is heading to to be ruled by military. You know what I mean? The coups. There's a lot of coups going on in West Africa, or the rumors of coups. Sometimes they say this was not coup, and sometimes we just see like there's constant rumor about countries being taken over by military. You know what I mean? And this is happening because of fake democracy we have in Africa. Or you can say in West Africa, there's a fake democracy there. There's no real democracy there. And that's why this is happening. And what people don't know is that before, if anytime there's change of government, like total change of government from military or from civilian to military government in any country, there is always a bloodshed. But sometimes you don't hear this. You don't hear about this bloodshed. This is normal. Any place there is a government different from the previous one, there's always a bloodshed there. Even if it's from military to civilians, you ask people that live in Africa, you see how even they conduct election there. People, even without changing the system, changing the system, this is still the democracy. Even in any election in these West African countries, people die. This is fact. People being killed, just by people that want power. Sometimes you look at all the conflicts in the world, and Africa is not an exception. Most of the problem we have in the world is caused by the leadership. It's always starting from the leadership. And from the leadership, it affects people in the bottom. But people in the bottom in Africa, they're affected most, you know what I mean? And because now before the coup, look at this one that talking about in Benin, that is recent coup, that is coup there, or rumor of coup there, is between the people in charge of the military, most cases, and people saying they elected the leader in democratic system. You see, it's just the power tussle between this. And those people that come through the fraudulent means and saying that it's democracy, what they do is that they took laws into their hands. And sometimes, even when they want to change over, conduct another election, is sham. They rig the election and put someone they want to be there. Or even if they're not going to put someone, they put themselves there. You can see it in Cameroon, you see it even Tanzania, many African countries, even in Nigeria as well. You see how democracy there is fake democracy. It's corrupt democracy. Is not. And there's one tragic thing about this is that the West knows this. They know that there are no democracy in Africa. If we're gonna be honest with each other, there's no democracy there. But the West knows this. But the only thing is that so long as he answers democracy in name, that's what they care. Because this is the system that came from the West. Democracy started from Greek. If my memory serves me right. So just because this system came from the West, no matter how you set it, as long as it bear that name, they don't have a problem with that. That's why you see these people welcoming those those that came to power in Africa by fraudulent means. They still travel to the West and answer head of state, in the West. But if you come through the military, the West will not welcome you, because coming through the military is not their system. Or if you go and import a system in China, for instance, because the West will tell you that China doesn't have democracy, you know what I mean? But at least, even if they don't have democracy, their system they have there is working. And everybody can see it because you see the development there. And not only that, it's development, the speed of it. But look at Africa where we have this fake democracy. You know what I mean? The development is slow. Sometimes it's not even there. And the West will say, oh, this is head of state, all these corrupt people. And because the West is benefiting from what is happening in Africa, because those corrupt leaders, in Africa, they come to the West to buy properties. You know what I mean? And they know that they don't ask them how they get this money. Because if they should ask them, because they should know people in their position in their own country and know whether these people can afford this kind of money. These people will throw around and buy some properties in the West, but they don't do that because so long as you're bringing wealth to them, there's no problem. And this military coup in Africa, in West Africa, is gonna continue because when you mess up the system and trample on people, it's just gonna be for a while before things will change. You know what I mean? Things will get out of hand, and sometimes they get out of hand quickly. But the thing is that sometimes, even so, as it's getting out of hand, the military will still come, and they spare those corrupt leaders that were there in answering democracy mouth. You know what I mean? They still spare them. And in olden days, no, it doesn't used to be like that because they don't spare them. They will send them to join their ancestors. You know what I mean? Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our video. Peace.